You want to go?
Sure. So we met through a mutual friend in December of 2002 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mumbo Jumbo.
Yes, Mumbo
Pretty
Jumbo.
cool restaurant. They have the best jerk chicken you've ever had. They kind of had it nice and spicy with some
He likes food.
nice Hawaiian sauce.
Forgive.
Yeah. We married 10 years. 10 years, December 2014. So we got married 2004. And wow, I think a lot has changed, certainly, since then. I don't think we've changed that much. It's been 10 wonderful years.
Well, you know, first I would say much better than we did when we first met. And when we first met 12 years ago and got married 10 years ago, we actually thought we were okay. You know, we were happy. No, we were not. Well, we did go through marriage counseling ourselves, and that's when we learned the necessary tools and techniques, and that's what's helped us. I want to say we communicate very well. I mean, now and again, we forget our own techniques, but then again, if you're honest with yourself and you do what you're telling other people to do, you pretty much get back online. So that's the thing with us. We apply what we teach, actually. So it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with her more. It's gotten to a point where it's now natural to us to constantly be talking, constantly be interacting. The first thought that comes to my head regarding anything, even stuff that's not necessarily related to her, is to talk to her about it. And that's something that's evolved and has happened over the course of time, just over us making that conscious effort to make sure that we're communicating well. So.
Sure. Whoa. Now, it is definitely not the same. So we were married for about, 3 years before we had our first kid. So we were kind of like newlyweds. And
good old days.
Second you have the kid, and there's this screaming individual close to you, hopefully their cot's right next to you or in the bed with you, and your husband telling you, hey, listen, I need to work tomorrow, I can't deal with this. Imagine what that does to a relationship. All I can do is paint that picture for you.
Did I used to say that?
It's quiet sometimes.
I have to say, I think we handled those transitions pretty well. But I think through it all, we've always found a way to find time for each other.
Yes.
I think that's the major thing you just have to keep in mind, is to make sure you make time for one another.
Because it won't happen automatically. You actually have to make a conscious effort, yes.
It made me realize that there was a lot of other things I had to say no to in order to say yes to the most important aspects of my life. To make that conscious effort to have your relationship remain intact and to work on your relationship and to be available to one another, you have to say no to a lot of other things in order to say yes to that.
But the very important thing, though, is we both agree. One thing we believe is you both cannot move in the same direction if you both do not agree. So with every aspect of our lives, we make sure we agree, including how we discipline our kids. And that makes it so much easier for them to see one message, one body, and it helps with how they turn out too.
United front. Yes. Us against them.
Yes. I would say everything. It's played a huge role. Now, based on my line of work, I thought it would be important to have a good foundation, have some sort of value that I place my entire being on. And I've always been Christian, and for me, my Christianity is what taught me how to, one, be consistent with my message, not be a hypocrite and do opposite from what I'm teaching people, but more importantly, to give me a good grounding to be able to reach out to the people who need the help and not to be ashamed or afraid to say the truth. So it's been very, very key for me.
For me, so one of my favorite scriptures is in James. It says, do not be hearers of the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. And one of the beauties of the Bible and the scriptures is it can be such a blueprint for your life. Because we share the same faith, that's what governs our marriage. That's what we use to determine how we should both behave. That's what we use as our corrective measures. So even if I have an issue with her, I try to use the scriptures to guide how I should act or react versus how I actually feel. And that helps me tremendously because it helps me realize that the me that I want to see in my marriage is second to the me that I want to be before God. And as long as I'm trying to be the best me in my relationship with God, my marriage is going to be fine. So.
Conflict, interesting. Yes, I talk about conflict all the time, so I'd like Ladi.
Okay, so I think we have arrived at pretty solid conflict resolution mechanisms.
I want to say so. I taught him all of them. It's my job.
She taught me everything I know, she says. But I think for us, the way our outlook on conflict is, one, we're a team. And because we're a team, we're constantly looking for a resolution that's best for everyone. For us, that's always the end goal.
Yes.
We're a family, we're in this journey together, and we'll get to that finish line together, not one without the other, not one in front and one behind. We're going to get there together. We do pretty good with conflict now, right?
I think we do. Just like communication, something we had to learn, something we had to apply to our lives, right? But we still have conflict, okay, guys? You're never not going to have conflict. And we just learn the best ways to deal with them. I just think about him more than I think about myself. I think about time, uninterrupted time with him, and I make conscious efforts to make that happen. It involves scheduling, but it's again, if it's a conscious effort, it will happen. If you're waiting for butterflies and goosebumps, all that stuff's gone at this point. But I schedule the time that we spend together, same with him, and we do not let anything, including the kids, come in between us at that time. So it's a conscious effort keeping romance alive in our relationship, and we just work on it, knowing it's conscious.
I honestly can't say it any different. For me, the short version is you just have to schedule it. You have to make a conscious effort of doing these things that you used to do when you first met, when all the sparks were there. It's a bit of a chicken and egg, right? Passion actually stimulates those things, is what I should say. However, that said, if you don't have passion and you want passion, those are the same things that you have to do. And one of the things I've also noticed is over the course of time, those things that you used to have to quote unquote schedule, they start to eventually come back as natural to you anyway. So that's one of the reasons why I always like to encourage people to not look at scheduling things from a negative perspective, because if you eventually do it long enough, it just becomes part of your natural routine.
Same way
anyway.
you form a habit. So a habit is something you do constantly and it becomes a part of you. So schedule it, then it becomes a habit again. Do you really? I'm kidding. I don't know. I feel like with Ladi, I've learned a lot more about him, and I feel like it's one thing to pay lip service to that whole "he's my best friend" thing, but I really think he's my best friend. I think with everything we've been through together and everything I know we might go through together again in the future, it just bonds me to him. You know, when we first started, we felt, oh yeah, this is how it should feel forever. And then when the tough times came, we thought, oh, it's over now. But no, it was just necessary for those tough times to come, so we know how to, bear our way through that and get to the other side. So I know him more now than I did then, and I appreciate him more now than I did then, for sure.
The biggest thing is I grew up very, very independent, not necessarily having a lot of people around me. Didn't have a lot of really close friends. I didn't feel I needed close friends. I'm a bit of an introvert. I kind of keep to myself. And I've always been comfortable in that. But one of the things she's done over the years is she's opened me up, and I'm glad I need her. I do need this woman in my life. And I'm basically coming from a space where I didn't really feel like I needed someone else in my life, where it was great to have her as my wife and in my life as someone to complement me. I felt whole. But now, as we continue to grow together and grow in the relationship and grow deeper, I do not feel whole unless she's there. I've realized that I've expanded as a person. My capacity to love has expanded. The things I want out of life have expanded beyond the whole me that I thought I had. So I feel I'm no longer complete without her, and it's time that has caused that to happen. It's 10 years together that has led to that.
He was complete when he met me, though. He's just saying that it's only better now because you know someone so well and you feel like, wow, this person is that part of you that is part of your completeness.
If you have a marriage where you set out a vision for where you guys want to go, eventually that vision is going to be bigger than just one complete person. That vision would automatically expand who you are and what you're trying to be. And that's literally what has happened with me.